Hey Sunbeams, welcome back. Hi, if you're new here. My name is Kayla and this is Happy Connections, and here we talk about all things journaling, lifestyle, and joy. But today I really want to talk about thoughtfulness, and why it's so important and how you can really become a more thoughtful person and why it matters. So thoughtfulness is something that I have personally been complimented on. It's something that I have intentionally tried to become a lot better at. It's the idea that you are mindful of other people and the effects of your actions, and your impact on them. And to me, that means that I care about my community and the people around me, and I want to show up in a way that is meaningful to them, in a way that also works for me. And so, why does it matter that someone is thoughtful, or why you should try to cultivate thoughtfulness? And that's basically because we live in a society where it is way too easy to brush people off, to kind of just get things really quickly. The idea of instant gratification, or rather the reality of instant gratification, that all you have to do is buy something to make somebody happy or just send something over. But thoughtfulness really leans into the idea of slower living. You have to think things through first. You have to reevaluate where you stand in relation to a person or an object. And with that, you then have to alter your mannerisms in a way that is beneficial to that person, without it being a detriment to yourself. And so it is definitely an expression of love. It is a higher expression of attention, and care and concern, for whatever it is that you are being thoughtful towards. And it can be as slight as giving someone leeway or moving out of the way if somebody needs to go somewhere and they're rushing. Or it can be as intense as cultivating a surprise party, moving forward and setting up a room for someone, or like really looking out and going that extra mile, to show that you care about another person or even the environment. It doesn't have to, human or non-human. It's not just writing letters and giving nice expensive gifts with that'll go viral on the internet. It's more than that. It's showing up. It's showing that you notice the way someone exists, and then leaning into that to show them, I appreciate the way you exist, and here's how I want to appreciate you. So there's a sense of gratitude, that kind of comes with it. So how do you become a thoughtful person? Number one, it starts with yourself. You cannot do or give anything that you do not know of yourself, or at least not well. And so before you try to be thoughtful and caring and concerning about other people's lives and their ability to, it can kind of etch into people pleasing a bit if you're not careful, because you're removing that element of without a detriment to yourself, right? There have to be boundaries in place before you're being thoughtful to other people. The idea of your thoughtfulness, not that it shouldn't come at a detriment, but you shouldn't be it shouldn't be out of harm to yourself. So this is not a video on how to people please. No, it starts off with you. How are you going to show that you care about yourself, that you love yourself, and that you're grateful for your existence? And so that comes with knowing yourself. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? How do you like to be appreciated? And once you know that, like, this is where your journaling practice comes in. This is, maybe you talk to people about, like, hey, have you noticed XYZ about me? That is where you kind of take a status check of yourself. And then when you do that, you have to do it, right? Thoughtfulness can't just exist mentally, it's an action. So once you know that, like, oh, I really appreciate getting flowers, or I really like the idea that maybe one day someone will just take me out on a date, like I'll just come home and then my clothes will be there and whatever. then do that for yourself, because it shows that you want to create those experiences for yourself, um, not just hoping that somebody will do it for you, right? Because, like I said, we live in a society where it's really easy to disregard other people because everything's so quick and so fast paced, and people have their in-person personas and they have their online personas. But when we slow back and really take time to review ourselves, that's where we can lean into showing up. And so for me, I absolutely love getting flowers for myself. I had gotten into it after working with a teacher over one of the breaks, and she just really liked doing it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cute. And now I just love how when I create my own bouquets and I can put them on different sides of the room, I can create them for other people, and that itself is the idea that I am cultivating something that is custom, just made for me, by me, in a way to show love and appreciation toward myself, toward my space. And so that has really heightened the way I start viewing myself, and then definitely how I expect to be treated by other people. So that I kind of said that in a roundabout way, but you're basically, after you figure that out about yourself, what you like, um, you're basically going to start to date yourself. And when you do that, now you can lean into the what else, the flowers, that I'll take myself out to go on a nice dinner, if that's your thing. That's my thing. I like to do that. I like this dress. I'm going to go get it and I'm going to wear it here, and I'm going to get the candles that smell really nice. And I'm going to get the coffee that tastes good, because I would love to share coffee with my friends or with people I love. Like those kind of experiences, beginning to cultivate them in your space, and you'll find people who, when you start to do it, other people who will notice that. They'll be like, oh, no way, I do that too. And that's a great start for conversation, and to really align with people that you would like to. That's a whole different video. Yeah. So those are some smaller things. Now you can also, so most people, when they are thinking about thoughtfulness, please guys, appreciate yourself. But after that, people really want to appreciate those nearby, their family, their friends, their lovers. How do you show thoughtfulness for those people in your life? If you're like me and you cannot focus for the life of you, and something comes in your ear and it kind of flies back out, and you're kind of aware and you know things, but nothing sticks, and I'm very forgetful, the Notes app has been a godsend for me. I used to be very embarrassed to be like, oh my God, you're one of those people who takes notes. Like, I felt like a creep. But then I would feel even worse knowing that I didn't get someone a gift that showed how much I cared for them. Or so I've seen people do those Notes app on TikTok for a different reason, and I was like, this is a little bit dehumanizing. But when I was like, I just got to get over it. I got to get over it, because I can't keep forgetting things about the people that I love, and it's not fair to them. And it's really unfair to me, because I'm showing up in a way that doesn't show how much I care for them. And it made me feel like a bad friend, made me feel like a bad person a little bit. And I decided, well, I don't want to feel like that. So let me stop pretending to try to be like everybody else, as if, oh, I'm going to walk down the aisle of Target and just like, oh, there's that one thing my friend likes. Like, that's just not me. I need to write it down. And so I started to create profile. Oh my God, friends are Jesus. I create profiles about the people in my life who are really close to me. I'm like, here's their favorite color. What kind of snacks do they like? When their birthday is, when are major events coming up for them. And they're just really quick. So like, if I see a friend who's like, oh, I really wanted these shoes, or that's something that has crossed my mind before, we're in conversation, I'm like, well, da 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 da. Like, I just thought that this experience was really cool. Noted, locked in, and it's not like during the conversation I'll just take my phone and like type it out, but definitely soon after, because I don't want to, like, if I'm getting gold, like, to me that's gold. Someone is giving me their personal preferences and their things that matter to them. I want to make sure I lock into that, so that way I can reflect my love back to them as much as possible. So yes, the Notes app. Now let's get into some activities, right? Thoughtfulness is a practice, friends. It's a practice. It is built little by little. You're not going to be the amazing whatever right off the first bat. And so little by little, like, I didn't start off with buying flowers and making bouquets for myself. No, I would take the free flowers after they were kind of wilted a little bit, and I was like, well, at least I have flowers, kind of thing. And then I just elevated to like, well, I deserve something nicer. I deserve this, or I would love this for myself. And so it can start off really small, but as it becomes part of your life, you'll be more intentional about the kind of things you engage in to show that affection. So something that I've definitely gotten some really good feedback on is gratitude notes. I love writing gratitude notes to people. This has mostly been in the context, so I got into it when I was in college. And at the end of a semester, I would really write gratitude to the professors and the staff members who kind of really went that extra mile for me. Like, they definitely had no need to pay that close of attention to me or to help me out. Like, I was going through a very emotional time. College was a very turbulent time for me. And they showed up for me and they saw me, and I wanted to know that, hey, you saw me, I appreciate it. I want to let you know how much I appreciate it. And so that practice of, at the end of a semester, just get some cards from the store, just like buy a bulk pack, and I still have some left over because of it. And just a quick note like, hey, I'm really grateful that you spent that time talking about this thing with me in your office, and you made me feel important and like I mattered. And just putting words to that and giving it to somebody, because I see it all the time. I loved when I received cards as a kid, and I keep all of them. They're definitely in some bag, like probably in one of those book boxes, because it mattered to me. I loved hearing how people spoke about me, how I showed up for other people in their lives, and I was like, okay, I know how that makes me feel as a person. Well, I want to make sure other people feel like that as well. And if they throw it out, that's their prerogative. But at the very least, I want them to know that they mean this much to me. Okay. Have I given it to people? I was like, are some more lengthy than others? Absolutely. But I feel like at the end of the day, good deeds should be repaid or at least acknowledged. Now, I've also given them to people that I've given them in instances where I wasn't extremely grateful for that person, but definitely grateful for the actions or the lessons. And if you guys are interested in that, I can kind of talk a little bit about how to write a gratitude note, whatever. But I didn't like them, for sure. I didn't like the way I was treated, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity or for the lesson. And at the end of the day, that is an expression of gratitude, not just to them, but to the world. I strongly believe that everything is a lesson, and it's only for my betterment. I don't see things as a loss. I spoke about that in another video. So even if I did not like you or them, or if I didn't like them, didn't like anything about the experience, I'm still grateful that I learned what I don't like and who I don't want to be around. Now, do I put that in the gratitude card? No, but I just mentioned I'm grateful for the experience. I learned so many things about myself. And I kind of keep it at that. They're usually like 2 or 3 sentences. Best of luck, or best regards, or kind regards. Not even kind regards. Best regards. And then I sign off and I just toss it and like whatever. But if you're not really into that and you're not there yet, there's no better way to show your thoughtfulness than to listen to people. This is really easy, but also very hard. And I am guilty of not listening. But also, when I do listen and I listen well, other people feel it. And they're like, well, you might even get at the end of the conversation, thank you so much for listening to me. And I do that now. Sometimes my heart is heavy, or I just feel like whatever, and I'm like, something's been on my mind. I call someone and they answer and they listen, and I just want them to know how much I appreciate that they took the time out to listen to me. And so that action of making yourself available to receive what's happening to someone. Obviously, if you're not in the right headspace, don't do it. Or just, set that boundary that, hey, this is not the right time for me, and whatever, you can figure that out. But when you can show up, you should, if you want to be a more thoughtful person, because thoughtfulness requires action. Listening to someone, really listening and engaging, and like, okay, tell me more about that, or how did you feel in that moment, or why did that matter to you? It shows to me a level of regard, because I definitely don't care when I hear from other people. I'm not inclined to ask questions. I'm not that curious. And I'm just like, okay, well, I got what I needed to get, or I heard what I needed to hear, and I don't care, so I'm not going to ask anymore. But if you want to be a thoughtful person and you want to show up for someone, you should ask those questions. Now, they might not always want to hear it, or they might not want to answer them, and that's fine. But nevertheless, you're actively listening. So that is free, people. That is very free. Another free thing is giving compliments. This can be a touchy topic concerning nowadays, but I'm sure everyone has enough sense. Compliment people on a job well done, on a happier aura, on a new necklace or something. Like, hey, that's a really nice necklace. It looks good on you. Or, you seem really happy. You're really brightening the office today. Or, I'm so grateful that you're here. Oh, your hair looks good. Things like that. Giving compliments is like, being around you just raises my spirits. That is so quick, so easy, kind of mindless, but not really. And it can really brighten someone's day. I try to do this with my friends, but like, I'm just so grateful that you're my friend, or I appreciate you showing up today. Like, you look great. Those are things that are free, take less than 5 seconds, and some people might not respond to it well because they're just not in a space to receive it. So don't take it personally. That's another thing. Some people can't receive goodness or love. They're not in the space to it. You give a compliment to someone, they're like, okay, you give it and you move on. But that is a way to show that you're acknowledging, you're observing, and then you're showing up, you're showing out to it. Smiling and nodding, another free thing, like a polite smile, or just a genuine smile, like genuinely, like, hey, good morning, how are you? Or just a good morning when you pass by. That's thoughtful. You're acknowledging someone's presence, their existence, and that might be more powerful and meaningful than you think it could be to someone. Another thing, we talked about that. Non-human thing I do to show my thoughtfulness and my appreciation for the world, I go and I hug trees. I don't care what anybody says. I hug trees. I stare at trees. I look at the grass. I look at the clouds. And I just take in that this is my environment. I feel like just staring at something doesn't do enough. So I feel really good when I hug the trees or I lay in the grass. And I feel like it's thoughtful. I feel like I'm taking a minute to slow down. One, I'm thoughtful of myself that might have this need to be in nature, but also appreciation for it. Like, wow, thank you, tree, for oxygen. Thank you for providing shade. Thank you for beautifying this very car-centric landscape. All of those things are meaningful, and the tree might not say thank you back, but it works hard day and night. So give it its flowers. But if there's any better way that I've come to create thoughtfulness and engage in thoughtfulness and develop thoughtfulness for myself before I even actively did anything, it was to write. You know those Wattpad fantasies of, oh, this and that or whatever, like, you can't be thoughtful if you're not observing anything, if you're not taking in information, if you're not engaging in the world. And I would write a lot. I just always had a lot of thoughts in my mind. But encouraging yourself to think a little bit farther, a little bit deeper about someone, about something. And as a practice, your mind starts to engage more. You don't just stop at like, oh, this is happening, and yeah, I guess that. You move further, like, how did that make them feel, or what is the situation showing? That is thoughtful. You're approaching situations and experiences with a level of regard that they may not always receive, and for your betterment. I feel like my growth as a person has happened exponentially since I began to do that. And so that was a lot to just say that thoughtfulness doesn't really cost much, or doesn't have to, at least. And it can definitely make your experience on this planet a lot better just by deciding to engage with it in a way that is beneficial and loving and kind. So that's all I have today. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. And I appreciate you joining me today. Thank y'all.